I'm saying hi really quickly. Looking forward to the talk. I
Hi.
have to go back. I'm listening though. I'm with
Okay,
you.
great. Okay, I'm just putting the link in for anybody who can't remember where to find it. There we go. Okay. Did anybody take a look at that morning meditation from YouTube that I shared? It's really, really a good one. I really recommend it. Any problems with my phone sticking?
Okay, I just have to say, I just love your whole look today.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
I'm going to a Sheva Brachas and I'm speaking on a podcast after this. And I'm teaching a class right after this. Then I'm getting my kids dinner. Then I'm going to a Sheva Brachas. Then I'm coming home and speaking on a podcast. So
I
it's
signed up for something that you're doing today.
it's all happening today. So I just
I
got
signed up for something. You sent an email.
a panel. Yes, that's
Yes,
I'm very excited for that.
I mean,
You're gonna love her, and I'm very excited you're coming because she's in the stones. She does all the
I
stones.
know, I saw that. I was like, oh,
You're
and
gonna
I'm
like it. Okay.
obviously prepping for Pesach already.
Absolutely. And then I'd love your feedback also on anything I say. Always appreciate and always want to get better. Actually, one of the best things about ChatGPT recently is I've been using it to analyze my coaching calls and get feedback with what I can do better, which is a cool use.
I still haven't used it. I'm too old. I'm not interested.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
I love what you're wearing. So pretty, Lily.
Thank you. I'm gonna have to get dressed up for this call more often. What can I do?
So pretty. I can't wait to see you coming next week, right, to the north.
Yes, I'm coming next week to the north. We have to work out how I'm going to see you.
Yep.
Uh,
Perfect. Okay.
okay. We're about to start chapter one. Chapter one. We are starting chapter one today. Okay, chapter one is really a pretty short chapter. And that's going to be because similar to when we were learning Nisiot Yesharim, the path of the just, we have to define our goals. We have to define the term trust. And I hope you checked out that YouTube I shared in the group. I have been listening to it every morning. This trust, and the words he uses are exactly from the Shar Bitachon. It's crazy about what it means to trust and how we trust. And one of the things that I liked about it was the mix of the music and the words I found helped me get into that, what they call coherence, when your heart and your brain are beating at the same thing, which is what he calls menuchat hanefesh, when our feelings and our emotions and our head are all in one and in that place of peace. And I think that sometimes we miss out when we're teaching these things, what the tools that people had access to. Why did the Levium sing in the temple, right? To bring us into the state of coherence. There are real things that come in our history. These things didn't just pop up in modern spirituality. They're really Torah ideas. They're really ours first. They're really part of our legacy. So it's important that we take them back and use them in the right way. Okay. Definition of trust. The essence of trust is this peace of mind of the person who has trust, that he relies on the person in whom he is trusting, that the person in whom he is trusting will do the good and correct thing for him, the one who trusts, in the matter which regarding that which he is trusting him, according to his ability and his knowledge, to bring that which is good for him into actuality. So we can all picture somebody in our mind. Let's talk about ourselves as a parent. Do you trust yourself? Do you feel that you always did what you thought was in your kid's best interest? Not your best interest. Really, when you did it, you thought it was in your kid's ultimate best interest, even if it's taking care of you to take care of them. And you just wanted good for them. And I think that's the easiest relationship for us to see it in, more than a spousal relationship or even to our own parents, because we see always the gaps. But when we're looking to ourselves and how we assume we show up for the people we love, we see that we would trust ourselves that we're going to do the best that we can. Okay? Here's the thing, though. The main thing is the result of which the trusting person trusts, and without which he won't trust. So what are the things that mean that we can't necessarily trust someone? The person that upon whom he is relying will follow through on that which he said and do what he promised to do. You can't trust somebody if you don't know that if they give you their word, it's as if it's done. They say they're going to show up. They're not going to forget. They're not going to get double booked and not inform you. They're really going to, now, things happen, right? If you're talking about a human being, things happen. They say they're going to be there. You're like 90% sure they're going to be there. And if you trust them, you're 100% sure if they won't be there, they'll let you know. Right? And in the back of our mind, who's the only person who can always be where they say they're going to be when they say they're going to be there? The person he is trusting even has in his mind to do good with him that which was never stipulated or assumed responsibility to do, and he will do it out of his generosity and kindness. Have you ever had a conversation with somebody where you told them what you wanted, and then what you got back was like to the letter what you wanted, but not the intention behind what you wanted, not really what you needed? Like, wash the dishes. Yeah, and they leave the dirty dish counter, the counter dirty, and the towels are on the counter. Like, that's not what I meant when I said wash the dishes. Like, and the food is left in the sink. Like, you want to know that they're going to really pay attention to the intention and the whole picture of what you're asking them. This is necessary because otherwise the person will always be worried that he is undeserving of the goodness of the one on whom he's placing his trust, which will cause him to, oh, I skipped a page. That's why I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Did I? No. No, that's it. Okay. This is necessary. Otherwise, the person will be worried that he's undeserving of the goodness of the one on whom he is placing his trust, which will cause him to stop trusting him. The definition of trust is the peace of mind that a person achieves as a result of his complete trust in someone else. In order to achieve this peace of mind, a trusting person must be aware that the person he is trusting will follow through on his promises. Additionally, also, the other person must feel that he will be kind to him in matters that are beyond that which he took responsibility for. We're going to go ahead into chapter 2. The 7 qualities of trustworthiness. In the first part of this chapter, the author lists the 7 qualities that a person who is being trusted in must possess in order to fully gain another person's trust. The second part of the chapter, the author cites verses to describe that only God possesses all 7 qualities. Therefore, it makes sense to put our trust in God and not anyone else. So I'm just going to, since we're all using the white version of Bitachon, the Felig edition, I'm going to have you skip ahead to the end of chapter 2 and the 7 qualities that foster trust in God, this like nice graph on page 54, okay? And we're going to kind of read a little backwards. We're just going to go over what these 7 qualities are before we read them through in the book. And we're going to talk about them a little bit. The 7 qualities that foster trust in God. He is compassionate and loving. God loves you and he wants your good. So this is where sometimes we have baggage. Okay, so let's open it up. We have baggage, right? Maybe there are people in your life. I don't think everybody has people in their life who love you and who want good for you and aren't really trustworthy. Can we all agree? We all have people in our life that love us, want good for us, but aren't really reliable that 100% of the time they're going to show up. So our lived experience is just because someone loves us doesn't necessarily mean they're trustworthy, okay? God does not go to sleep. He will get the job done. He is attentive. We've all had the experience of somebody who goes to sleep and didn't maximize their time, didn't use their free time, really didn't go the extra mile to help us out, right? We went to sleep thinking that someone was going to take care of something and they dropped the ball. Our nervous system has a lived experience of we trusted someone else, we surrendered it, and we didn't get what we wanted. Almighty. No one can stop God from fulfilling your wishes. We've all had an experience of a person who wanted to do something for us and for matters beyond their control, really wasn't able to, right? We've all had the experience that someone did something that they thought was going to be good for us. And in the end, it really hurt us. Like someone it was really just trying to do something good for us. And it was really just not what we wanted. And it ended up hurting us, or it bounced back and really wasn't good in the end. Only God can know that all outcomes of his actions are good. Exclusive care. God has exclusively taken care of you and he won't stop. We've all had relationships that have ended, people who said that they loved us and either have passed away or have passed from our life, or a breakup or some form of loss where somebody wasn't always there for us. It is in his hands. It is only God who can get things done. We have had people who've made us promises and just not delivered. They promised things that weren't even theirs to promise. Generous and kind, don't worry whether you're deserving, God is generous. And we've had reciprocal relationships where people only give what we've earned. Can we all agree that deep in our nervous system, it's very hard to trust? Because on every single level of the 7 qualities that foster trust, if you are a human being, you have been disappointed by other human beings. And so when everybody real to us has let us down in some way, how do we foster trust in God, who we can't see and we can't touch and we can't feel like we feel another real human being in front of us? When we read the introduction, we talked about the alchemist, this fantasy, and the reality of trust in God. That it's really the opposite. This world and the people of this world are the fantasy. God is real. This spiritual, intimate relationship that we are going to invest in and during the time of learning this book is the most real thing. And it's a huge mindset shift to say that the struggles that I'm having, the people in front of me, the disappointments, the challenges, the obstacles, the fear, the uncertainty are real. They're there. But they're not the ultimate reality. The ultimate reality is that there's somebody who's really trustworthy, who really loves me, who really knows me, who has these 7 qualities, who's there. And so a lot of the work that we're going to be doing in the mindset work that we're going to do while we're learning this book is to get in there and make God as real to us, if not more real to us, than the very temporary challenges that we're experiencing. What do you guys think? Are you with me?
Yes, I mean, I feel like this is like the essence of everything. Because I didn't start the book with you before, and I have read this, and I actually sat with my Rebbitzin, and we kind of did just the beginning, but we didn't. So I grew up in a home that was super, super abusive, and I think that for a child who doesn't have that with their parent, but for some reason, I for me, I mean, the second I was born, I had this, which I didn't know what it was. I mean, I didn't ever really question it because you're just born with it. But as a adult looking back, uh, when you think of like the innocence of a child, and you think of what can be like the majority of the world, and like we think of like the Bebas children, and you think of like how can like that's like the connection of children to God is so like pure and beautiful, and especially like an infant, like how could anyone harm an infant or anything? And the fact that they breathe and cry and everything is like to me like the essence of Hashem, like there, because it's not like, yes, an adult soothes them and does all these things, but really like they're just cradled in God. Like how else do they survive from being born and through? I mean, it's like really crazy what an infant does. Like to me, like that's the essence. Like you're so born, every cell of your body is born as the child of God. It's so amazing to me. And I mean, yes, you get thrown into this world, but if somehow something, I'm not sure how it happens, but that a child can hold to the what we call innocence, but it's actually not. It's the ultimate sophistication of depth. There, this reciprocal knowing of God and loving of God, because it's always there, like this tether. And I think of like just the stars and the moon and all of those things that, are the real things, like that we sit in awe over, true awe over. Humans are flawed. I mean, we are flawed by nature and for many, many reasons, but we know the sun's going to rise and the sun's going to fall and all of these things that um, are of God. But I think of like the innocence of just a newborn and a child and the miracles that happen every second of that because they are a child of God. And it's like when humans interfere in that almost. It's like you could just imagine if an infant was brought somewhere and didn't have parents, like they would still have a parent.
Hmm.
There'd still be there would still be God you know, to take care of them. Like even in my situation that was, pretty traumatic. I don't know why I always had that. Like I never felt alone. I never felt, I think like when I think of the hostages, I think like when they said they prayed, I don't feel like, that was what they reached to, because after a while, it was hard to reach for their families. It was hard to reach for anybody. They had to reach inside of themselves, and
They found God there.
they found God there. And I think it's like this is like so incredibly beautiful to me. Like I feel like I just think it's like what you always know to be pure. Like
Yeah.
just that little infant, the infant knows everything. If we can shed all the rest of it, like,
Yeah. And
you
it's
know,
the learning, right, of all the conditioning that from that moment of infancy until who we became today, we became conditioned from all of our experiences. And I think that part of the journey of this book is the holding of the two truths at the same time, because you still are stuck with a lot of that conditioning and a lot of that stuff of what's happening in the present.
mhm.
But you have this stronger and stronger and stronger resonance of God. And no, it is God, and that's what's real. It's like watching a play, and you know that the play isn't real happening in front of you, and yet you are emotionally invested in the characters. You're crying, you feel it, you're cheering for them, you're heartbroken for them. And I think Shakespeare said, we're all we're all players on a stage, and this is not something that's like a unique thought, but it's something that is the real, I think, process of the book is continuing when we see the two truths and we're stuck in the play that's happening, that we're a part of, that we are a character in, remembering that like it's our soul in a body playing a character, and that character can always rise out of its, you know, limits. And so as we go through these trustworthiness things, it's going to give psukim. And I'm going to invite you that if you don't have a tremendous Torah background, okay, to, in your own time, if you see a little story or a little quote that speaks to you, Google it, Chat GPT it, ask a rabbi, ask me, like look it up, share it with a group. Like I was actually interested in this story about the ravens and Eliyahu, that there's a quote here, but I don't know the story. So like, let's go and let's learn the story. Let's invest, because each quote that he's going to give throughout this book is just a little taste of how everything that's in modern spiritual talk is Torah. But as Jewish people, we have a unique relationship with God. Everybody, every living being has a relationship with God. Every single being has a right to depend on God and trust in him and manifest and be close to him. The Jewish people have a different set. We have a different privilege and a different level of intimacy in that relationship, and that's why we also have obligations. Somebody who has a general area of love has much less obligation to the king than the people closest to the king. People closest to the king are there to serve the king as his agents of good in the world, and not only as the recipients of good, they are their own vessels to be poured out as good. And that's the role of the Jewish people. That's different than the role of everybody else who is receiving the same amazing good. But we have a second function, and that's to be also a vessel of producing God's good, co-creating with him that good in the world on a different level. And so that's why we did Shara Bitachon, we did the Gate of Trust, then we did the Path of the Just. What is the inner work that we basically give it over to the world to also offer them on their own terms to do, but also for ourselves, that it's not just optional for us. This is our obligation and our privilege for this also extra level of divine intervention. And since you brought up the hard things in life, everybody, every culture has gone through the same hard things as the Jewish people. There are many cultures that have been wiped out, that had a Holocaust, that had horrible things happen to them. The difference is the Jewish people keep surviving. We're every time saved. And so sometimes we go through it again and again, but those other nations are gone. So no, they didn't experience these things over and over again because they're no longer here. And so that unique relationship that we have means that we're tested. And I want to just bring in one thought. I've been doing this, I've been struggling with my heart rate over the last few months. My heart rate has consistently been too high for what I know it should be. And I've been trying different tools to figure out how to bring it down more consistently. And so I've been working with breathwork, and I've been working with Soma breathwork. And he said something that really hit me, and it hit me very vulnerably. He said that when you have to practice holding your breath more than what's comfortable. And I said, oh, that's exact. And he teaches you how to breathe, and then hold your breath and count how long you can hold it. Then try this next series of breath work. And as you surrender, as you get into menuchat hanefesh, you can actually hold your breath longer. And as you hold your breath longer, once you get to a certain level of breath hold, you feel this sense of godliness, this sense of oneness, this amazing sense that pain all had, like, really, it was strengthening your resilience to get you here. But you have to relax into it. You just can't hold your breath when you're in a stressed state. And it was just such a perfect microcosm in the human body of the structure of our entire world, that when we are very stressed, we really struggle with Bitachon. We really struggle to do the behaviors and to do the things right because we're so reactive. And then we don't always pick up on the lesson that we're being taught through this challenge. We're not getting the bliss that God is trying to give us through building us up to that point of preparing us for the thing he wants to give us. And the hardest thing is really holding your breath and calming yourself and getting to the Menucha Nefesh state and then taking the next action we need to take. I am very much a student alongside you guys working on it. But I wanted to offer that insight as we're reading, that if you find yourself getting into a stress state or you want to use this and you feel like I'm not getting there, Google Soma breath work. You can give it a try. You can just try taking deep breaths where your exhale is longer than your inhale, getting yourself more calm. And you could be, other people I'm sure have more insight into this as well.
I actually specialize in that if anybody wants to try. So
in Soma breathwork or in breathwork?
It's one of the things I do. I'm a somatically qualified coach. Yeah. So I do all the types of breath work, including pranayama and Bitachon breathing for asthma, all these things. Very healing. Yeah.
Amazing. Maybe one week you want to do a thing for us as a group.
I'd love to, with pleasure.
Okay, great. So you be in touch with me what week works.
Yeah, and also like if people on the group want to say if there's something they'd like to, help heal, they can send it to me privately. It doesn't have to be public. And I can bring that out. Yeah.
Amazing. So you see,
it can be a physical thing or an anxiety thing. Yeah, it works on lots of different levels. So it could be emotional, something like a block. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I've been using it on myself all day and I've got to tell you guys it works.
I tell you, I had to go use it on myself this morning. My husband was extended from getting home tomorrow to now getting home on Friday, Erev Shabbat. I required some breath work today to get myself into a better state of trust. The work in progress.
It's not always about mindset. Sometimes you just got to get your nervous system regulated.
Yeah.
And the breath is an important part of that.
Exactly.
Yeah, it works on also things like inflammation, like chronic inflammation. I know when I'm not right, when my tummy's bloated or like I'm feeling like I'm clenching, you start to feel it in your body all kinds of ways.
Jaw, I feel it.
It could be there, jaw, yeah.
Exactly.
We're a combination of energy systems. What can I say? We're really complicated and we seem to all be on a roller coaster right now. And to learn to hold on tight, to hold on too tightly, you're clenching and it's going to rattle your whole body. When you learn to breathe, you hold yourself with your core and you're held from within. That's the safest way because it doesn't matter where you are on the roller coaster, you're holding yourself. That's the only way I can describe it.
Exactly.
It's like a hack, like a shortcut to Emunah, because in that place you can let go, and letting go is the ultimate Emunah, surrendering.
Yes, and he actually talks about that and gives that metaphor in the book of we are always a baby held in God's arms. So no matter where you are and whatever challenge you are, that roller coaster, but we have to be able to feel it. Right now I'm sitting in a chair, but if I don't pay attention, I'm sitting in a chair. I'm not conscious of the sensations of being in the chair.
Your mind is scattered and fragmented. And the thing about being like a baby, so Dr. Bitachon, who patented the Bitachon system that has been largely discredited in the past generation because of Big Pharma sort of suppressing. I'm sure everybody's familiar with these things where doctors come out with amazing, helpful systems and then everybody's like, no, he's a quack. Actually, no, he's not a quack. He's healed a lot of people. So I healed my asthma through his system. And it's very similar to Pilates, who he watched the animals and saw what they did. And it's very similar to Gabor Mate, Peter Levine, who watched the animals and see what they did with trauma. If you see a baby in their buggy sleeping, you'll notice their tummy going up and down just as they breathe. And if you notice a little puppy or a dog sleeping, you'll see physically their tummy. Now, we trained ourselves not to hold our tummy in and breathe with our chest because we don't want our tummies to show. So we're sucking it in. And it's very hard. We have to learn to drop that and breathe right deep into our tummy. That's the key, because breathing into the deep tummy relaxes the vagus nerve. It's at the root of it all. So I could go on about this, but I was just relating it to what you said about being a baby.
Yes.
That's going back to being a baby is it.
100%.
Going back to that theta, what's it called? Not the first wave. It's not theta alpha. Theta, is it? You know those waves that you're in? Theta healing. Yeah.
And so, and
That
I agree.
dreamy state. Yeah.
When I work with people about food, we talk about the vagal system and that you can't most people want to eat healthy. It's really not like we have to make ourselves want to eat healthy. We want to eat healthy, but we're in a stressed state.
Mm.
It's very hard to take action consistently on eating healthy. We're always reacting from that other place. And so you'll definitely see all these things interact, and everybody can come to it from whatever signs are coming to them. And so that's something else to pay attention to as we go through the 7 factors, is also how we want to be in the image of God, that we are never going to be a perfectly trustworthy person. We wish we were, but we're not. How can we continue to grow and emulate these elements of God? And I feel that very much as a parent and as a spouse and as a friend, like, how can I not be always measuring what somebody's deserving of? How can I be giving generously? How can I show up in the way I said I was, or not commit to something that I can't follow through on? All of these are excellent beginning conversations about boundaries with you and other people, as much as they are about you and God. And that's what he's going to talk about here. As we go through the chapters, he's going to say your relationship with God, and then your relationship with people, and then your relationship with money, and your relationship with food. He's also going to talk about, because all food is sustenance, is money, is relationship, is need. And we interact with God through our physical body, through our needs. So with that, which I thought was super powerful to start the book, and it needs to be said so that you have context as we go through, that this isn't like just learning for the intellectual pursuit of learning. It's learning to change and reveal your authentic self. And so you have to go in with that intention that you're going to look for how each thing applies to you in your daily life, and not just think of it as a really interesting intellectual exercise. The 7 qualities of trustworthiness. So we're going to begin by enumerating the 7 qualities. There are 7 factors that enable a trusting person to trust another creation, a friend. The friend must show that he truly cares about his fellow. The first factor is a friend must possess the character traits of compassion, empathy, and love. Knowing that a friend has compassion and empathy for him, a person will place his trust in his friend and have peace of mind due to his reliance on him regarding all matters which troubles his friend. A person that knows his friend really cares for him will feel confident that his friend will fulfill any request asked of him. Those 3 a.m. friends. Even if you have a 3 a.m. friend, and I'm really blessed that I do have 3 a.m. friends, I rarely call them at 3 a.m. Anybody feel that way? Because you absolutely trust that they'll be there for you if you really need it. But we all know intuitively that they're human, and you don't want to waste that 3 a.m. phone call, right? You want to save it for when you really, really, really need that 3 a.m. phone call. But God is always awake at 3 a.m. and always ready to hear from us. And that, again, is just a huge shift. A shift. Like, I always have to stop myself from asking or check if it's a person, but not with God. My calls are always going to be answered. He is waiting joyfully to hear from me. He's always thinking about me with compassion and empathy. The second factor, compassion is not alone. To create trust, the person he cares about, although a friend may care a lot about his fellow, it's possible that he won't pay attention to him, right? I have so many friends right now, we barely get to talk. Everybody is so involved in their daily life and their daily struggles and the things that are happening in their little world. Additionally, a friend may act lazily when it comes to actually helping his fellow. Therefore, the person must know that in addition to his friend's love and care, he will never ignore him or grow negligent. You could be calling me and my kid can be having a temper tantrum, right? I might be available, but I might not be available in that moment, right? But God has the infinite capacity to be available for you in your moment, and me in my moment, and her in her moment, and everybody in their moment with his full presence. I don't need to be worried that everyone else has their problems for me to anticipate mine being solved. Wow, my solutions are always on the way to me. What I need is available. All of these things continue to affirm to ourselves that, like, that's what it means when we say that he is all-knowing and all-powerful. He is the creator. He is the universe. He is everything. A person knows that in his addition to his friend's love towards him, he will not ignore him. He won't become lax in fulfilling his wishes. Rather, the latter knows that his friend has decided to fill his wishes and will make every effort to do so. For if all of the above is not clear, he can't really trust his friend completely, because he knows that his friend may ignore him and become lax in filling his wishes. Only when the friend is trusting, possess both the qualities, compassion for him and attentiveness to his matters, will he also be able to rely on him without any doubt. But if he knows that the friend may have the best intentions to take care of him, what if the friend does not possess the ability to do so? Is it therefore necessary that in addition to the two above qualities, the latter also possesses the ability to take care of him? I find it heartbreaking when people call all the time. Sorry, 1 second. Someone asked for the group thing, our Zoom link. People ask all the time, like, they call you and they ask for money. And everyone has so much they can give, and you might tell them how much you can give, and then they'll say, well, really, could you give more? Does that ever happen to anybody? Couldn't you give more? Couldn't you give more? And every time you're like, I wish I could. Like, I wish I could, but I'm not God. So even when somebody really wants to do what we want, they really want to pick us up from the airport, but they can't. They have a Zoom meeting or a business meeting, or they have to pick their kid up from school. They want to pick me up in the airport. They know I'm coming in. They paid attention, but they're not available. They don't have capacity for that. For if he is weak, then the trust in him cannot be complete, despite his clear compassion and attentiveness, because in many situations he will be lacking the means with which to fulfill the wants of a person trusting in him. Only when the above three qualities are combined and present in a friend will it be most appropriate for the person to place his trust in him. However, even if a person cares, is diligent, shows the ability to overcome any obstacle, he may not always know what is in the person's best interest. It is therefore necessary that in addition to possessing the above three qualities, he also knows what is in his best interest. As much as I love you, and as much as I know you, and I want to give to you, and now I have the money to buy you the best birthday gift, I can go out, I can go to the store, I could buy you the best gift, your favorite chocolate cake, and I have no idea that really your doctor told you have diabetes. And this thing that I'm sure you're going to love because I know you and I care and I made the effort is really going to harm you. Only God can know what really is going to be of the highest benefit to us. The one who is being trusted knows which things will be of true benefit to the one who is trusting him, and that which is good for the trusting one will not be hidden from him. Knowing what is for his benefit in the concealed matters, just like in the revealed matters. And he knows how to create a situation that will be for his good. For if a friend does not know all this, then the person trusted in him will lack peace of mind to rely on him. Only when these four qualities come together in the friend who is being trusted, knowledge of what will benefit his needs, ability to help him, active attentiveness and compassion, will the trust in the friend be strengthened without any doubt. The author now continues by saying that in addition to all the above qualities, the person must be under the exclusive care of the one he trusts for all his needs. Since that person has always taken care of him, he will trust that person to continue to do so. The fifth factor. The person being trusted is the only one who has taken care of him from the beginning of the latter's existence. Through his development, the 9 months when he was in his mother's womb, the days of his infancy, childhood, youth, adulthood, old age, until the end of his days. When all of this is clear to the trusting person, he will surely lead to him resting his mind upon his friend and relying on him to be his support. due to the good friend of the good he has done to him in the past, and as a result of the benefits that he receives from him in every moment. All this surely leads to a strengthened trust in his friend. Even parents, right? They're with us when we're young, they're maybe with us in our teen years, but at some point we become an adult and they're not solely supporting us anymore, right? Wait, you mean now if I can't pay my mortgage, am I going to go to my mom or my dad and say, will you pay this for me? Maybe yes, maybe no. Maybe they do it for 1 month, but you need to find it, right? You need to get a job. You need to do it yourself. You're not under their sole support for your very existence anymore. There's nobody except for God who is with us from our first breath, talking about breath, to our last breath, who is keeping our existence alive from the very beginning to the very last moment, actively. But this is not enough, because even a person has been cared for exclusively by another one until now, someone may possibly interfere and cause him harm. Only when the other person is the sole individual with the ability to do good or bad to him can he be fully trusted. The sixth factor, a person who has trust is completely in the hands of the one he trusts. No one else is able to harm him, help him, do good to him, or protect him from harm. Just like a servant who is tied up and imprisoned, who is completely under the jurisdiction of his master, no one else can do anything for him, either good or bad. When that person who has trust is completely under the jurisdiction of the one he is trusting, in the manner outlined above, it will be even more appropriate for him to place his trust in his friend. Hard to imagine this person being the friend when you're trussed up in the dungeon only under his control. But what it's saying is that to have exclusive trust in that one friend, it has to really be that there's no one else to call, right? The second you're like making backup plans and secondary things, and if he doesn't come through, I know somebody else, right? You're not exclusively really trusting in that friend. You're having like a general, like he's an address to go to, but he's not the address. Finally, the author says that a friend who is being trusted must be known as generous and kind, both towards those who deserve it and those who do not. For if this quality is not present in that friend, he might give up trusting in him, thinking that he is undeserving of his friend's kindness. We've all had mistakes that we've made that then we've been punished for in a relationship, right? Either through somebody saying, I don't want to be your friend, or a breakup, or a child and having distance for some period of time, or a parent, or whatever it is. We've all had a relationship where we've done something wrong and we haven't been immediately forgiven or given the benefit of the doubt or welcomed back with open arms, or we've had to earn it, right? It's life, that's human beings, right? None of us are perfect. None of them are perfect. Only God, we know, gives goodness to those who deserve and those who don't deserve. Someone who possesses all of these qualities, in addition to that which was mentioned before, meets all the criteria necessary to gain a person's trust. It surely leads a person who knows this about him to trust him and have both peace of mind as a result of his reliance on him when it comes to the trusting person's behavior in public and his behavior in private. And the trusting person's mind, he never needs to worry about his needs, as well as with the rest of his body. In his actions, he will give himself over to the trusted person, accept his decrees, judge him positively in all his judgments and actions, believing it even those things that seem to be bad are actually good. Okay, let's pause here and discuss. Thoughts? Something that resonated with you today as we started going through. We're going to talk next week more about the 7 qualities and how obviously they can only be God. And then chapter 3 and chapter 4 are, chapter 3 is a little longer and then chapter 4 is super long. So we'll move at our own pace. But what resonated with anybody today? What was their takeaway? Esther, do you want to type? Do you want to share anything? I know you couldn't be on. We said hello at the beginning. Anybody have anything they want to share?
I mean, yes, and I don't know. I find I do struggle a lot with everything going on, especially, you mentioned the bee bus babies earlier, or was it LaLa who mentioned them? Just, the idea of trust in God is so powerful. And then there are moments where you think, and yet this happened, and this is still being allowed to happen, and there are hostages, and it's really tough. Some days I just struggle with it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's beneficial to trust because when you don't trust, you've lost everything and you spiral. So clearly, trust is better than the not trust. It's always a choice. So I come back to trust. I don't know everything. I don't know the bigger picture. And then I think, yeah, I don't know the bigger picture. Here I am. And it's very difficult to see from here, honestly.
Yeah. I heard the difference between knowing and trusting is knowing is you've already seen the good outcome. Trusting is before you see the good outcome.
I mean, it's easy for me in my bubble. Everything is good here. I mean, now it is. A few months ago, it wasn't. It's just such a roller coaster, you know. But then I see the birds and the sky and the trees and the leaves, and they're all growing and they all have their synchronicity and their timing. And it's going back to that self-soothing that this is a good world. It's run by a creator who's only good. Just coming back to that over and over again. But in those moments, I don't know if there's a tool for that.
I think a lot about that saying, better to have loved and lost than never to have loved at all.
Mm-hmm.
I think about that a lot now. And because, like, if we didn't love so much, then the pain wouldn't be there. So that we would just have like a vanilla life. You just run through life, and that you didn't know something, that you didn't know how much you loved something until you lost it. And it's not that it needed to be a lesson or anything like that. It's just reminding you that how incredibly valuable things are, and how also, like, I think sometimes we forget how the capacity of our own feelings, how great they are and how amazing they are. And so, like, like with the children and with the hostages, like, it's in some ways, I don't know if there's anything more beautiful than a broken heart, because that means that our capacity to love is so great. Um, it's not like I think, like, because I don't think everything is always good. Like, but the broken heart is good because in so many ways, like, it reminds us that we want to keep loving, we want to keep doing that. And so that's like when things are really bad, even if I feel bad or sad or whatever, I just keep thinking I'd rather have loved the person than lost, than never to have known them or known love. And it seems like it's like sometimes I'll say to my kids, I'm like, the poets and the musicians, they know it all. Like, they somehow, God whispers things. Like, there's all these lyrics to all these songs that it's all true. Like, when you hear things like that, and you hear songs that like really touch you and they make you cry or they make you laugh, and you're like, oh yeah, you know,
The
you
secret
can't
chord.
have, yeah, you can't have love without loss. You just makes your love so much deeper and more fragile and precious, I guess.
It's interesting. When I think about the hostages, and I think about the situation, and I think about the rockets, and I think about all this stuff. It's like, how do I not hold on to the pain of the past moments? Right? How do I not keep reliving the October 7th pain? We are not in, right? This, like, we're still in October 7th. How do we remember that, like, how many amazing, miraculous blessings have filled our life and our existence and our nation between October 7th and March 30th of 2025. And to see that depth of feeling that is being ignited, to feel the pain of the people left. Am I feeling the miracle of the babies born and the new couples engaged and the blessings that way outweigh the tragedies? Or am I only using that feeling to feel the hard things? And in our personal life, right? Everybody has challenges in their relationships, right? How much of my energy is focused on this flaw and this current thing? How much of it is about what's happening right now, and how much of it is about the past? And how much of it is refeeling old disappointments and expecting future disappointment, right? The scariest thing, one of the scariest things about October 7th was that we felt so invincible, and that certainty in our own strength was made vulnerable. And so now it feels vulnerable all the time, even though in that uncertainty are these insane miracles. Insane miracles. You're just living in a space of God's control, which is, like you said, so much more precious than never getting to experience it and only living of a world that's in your own control. But wow, is it a roller coaster, as Shulamit said, of emotion.
I mean, I wouldn't be here on a Zoom call with all of you if it wasn't for October 7th. I wouldn't be studying. I mean, I wouldn't be, let me see, I've turned my house kosher. I like bake challah every week. I wouldn't be doing any of those
Wow,
things.
LaLa, that's so beautiful.
My life has really changed, and brought my
I've
family
moved to
along
Israel
with it.
because of October 7th. I'm here
Right,
now. It's like I've completely changed my whole life.
right.
I hear
I mean,
you.
my son
Yeah.
is never coming back. I mean, I know that. He was going to serve and maybe stay for a little while, but he won't ever come back. His heart is there. I can't even fathom. I mean, maybe he will, I mean, I don't know, but I mean,
Maybe come
there's-
join us.
sounds good to me. But I mean, there's so many things. And I think that one of the ways our human brain goes is that there's this balance system, and when I had been doing a lot of my work earlier on, like 10 years ago, when I was deep into meditation, and one of the biggest messages was, you didn't get all this because that was so horrible. You were going to get this anyway. You were going to get this life, this husband, these beautiful children, this amazingness. It's not because you had that as a child. And it was like every time I would go to like a meditation where I was like, I mean, I used to meditate like 2 hours a day. And every time I would get to that place, that total coherence, that was the message I got slapped with every time. Like, stop thinking. You are always going to get this. You don't have to have bad things to get this, And and I think, like, I feel like the same with everything that's going on now. But there were the beautiful things we were always going to get. You're always going to get those. And the hard things maybe just help you know that they are that beautiful.
Yeah, that was so beautiful. I think that's a great place to end. I'm so excited to go continue this Bitachon journey with you guys. I would say that the biggest area of change for me, it's like so much more internal. It's been this pursuit of taking every challenge and like squeezing all the juice out of it, squeezing all the juice out of each challenge, and all the growth and all the insight and all the love and all the And it's just been challenge after challenge, but at the same time, there's been so many good things, you know. And I love what you said. That really speaks to me right now, of starting to feel like, okay, these challenges are to give me the good. No, that the good was coming all along. The challenges, you know, maybe prepared me or gave me a vessel to get there, but I would have, like, they were coming all along. And I think that's very powerful, because I think there's definitely that feeling of, you know, maybe did I, you know, that there is a connection.
Just to say, you know, I think you probably said it at the beginning, but it's Rosh Chodesh Nisan today. So we're stepping into miracles. Adar has been, you know, for me, a challenging month. It's where there was still some darkness. And I think for me, the biggest change internally has been understanding that with the biggest challenges comes the biggest growth. And that you can't always see that there's going to be growth when you're in the challenge, but you just have to hold on to that thought that, do you remember when? Like, remember when that happened last time and how you grew after that? And just remembering that in the past things did work out.
Yeah.
And that we always do have the strength that kind of grows immeasurably along with the challenge. So it's almost like it's cultivating and fertilizing the growth.
Yeah. And it goes back to that breath work. Like, the longer you hold your breath, then you learn to hold it longer, and then you relax into it, and then you can hold it longer. And then you're like, wait, why am I suffering longer? Because it has all these benefits.
Yeah. And you're controlling it. So you're intentionally increasing your lung capacity. So basically what you're doing is you're increasing your ability to hold stuff, you know, and to oxygenate the rest of your body.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Have an amazing week, and I look forward to seeing you guys next.
Thank you so much, Lily. Chodesh Tov, everybody. Maybe bring Geula for lots of us, for all of us personally, and as a whole as well.
My pleasure. Let me be in touch about next Sunday, because that's the day we're driving up north. So I will post if it's going to be canceled, just because if things get too uncertain. But I will try for next Sunday, and I will let you guys know.
Thank you.
And LaLa, thank you for your share. I don't know if you got the note that I wrote, but it was beautiful what you said.
It was
really
so beautiful. They're shared in the chat. That powerful share today was, both of you. Like, really, I feel like I hold space for this share, but we're all giving it. So many amazing people here.
Well, you're amazing facilitator. Thanks, Lily.
Thank you.
Bye.
Have a good week, everyone.
Have a good week.